you talk about is all right, we hold that till Mr. Gasper.
Just so we get some clarification to make sure, as he said, that it's already in the bill. That's
Can
one.
we take some other questions that might tie in with that? Senator Bond, I believe you had a,
No.
you did have a question?
Right now, I was motion.
Okay, I had you on the list up here, Senator Collins Smith.
So we're waiting on Brent to make sure that it reads the way that Senator King, that it's in the bill, that this is, he's satisfied, is that correct? We're on the amendment, his amendment, correct?
I think you put a hold on his amendment, so we can talk about the bill as is and come back to the amendment if he wants to.
We proceed.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I would like to ask, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to hear from the prosecutors. I'd like to ask them some questions, if you don't mind.
Okay, can we have representative prosecutors come to the table? You will introduce yourself.
Bob McMahon, prosecutor coordinator.
Thank you, Bob. Mr. Chair, may I go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. One of the things that I had contacted to get some information since this bill was moved to today, Senator Hutchinson, instead of tomorrow, I was expecting to talk to some people prior to this bill running. I have not been able to do that, and so I have not talked to prosecutors. As a matter of fact, I would prefer that this bill be held tomorrow. Some of the people that are absent today that wanted to be here, I think they should have the right to speak because they told me they would be here tomorrow. So I am going to ask you to consider that, Senator Hutchinson, because of some texts that keep coming in about some people that are absent. Could you tell me, Bob, if you don't mind, what happened in the bill, what was amended from last week to this week that has made you guys very, very neutral with the bill?
Senator, this process involved a lot of work with the sponsor, so there were a lot of things that were previously in the bill that we worked out to our satisfaction that have now been taken out of the bill. So leading up to the most recent change in our position, and when we were here a week ago, we were neutral at that time as well. Some of the prosecutors were asked a few questions, but we were prepared at that date, a week or so ago, to be neutral on that day. A couple of things that have come up that were made, some minor changes, had to do with two areas. One was in the catch-all provision that looks like Senator King's amendment is attempting to change a little bit. There was a change in that, the catch-all provision that the prosecutors are now comfortable with. And there was also a section in there with regard to what would count as a period of confinement. And we reached an agreement that it would be no more than 6. 2 of those 6 would be the confinement in a community correction facility. The other 4 may be a jail lockup of some sort, but those were the 2 final things that we worked out to come to the understanding that we would be neutral on this bill. Those were the last 2 issues.
If you don't mind letting me, just if you don't mind, let me have a few questions to get myself satisfied. Thank you. Yes, please.
Well, I just want to clarify that, Bob, actually any 6 confinements.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
So it will end up probably being 4 and 2, but if there's 6 county jails.
Yes, sir. Could be 6, just no more than 2 of the other.
How does that differ than the last week when the bill was not acceptable? Could you tell me how it's different for us that we're not privy to any of this? And but since the bill's running today,
Right.
we don't have time, haven't had time to ask those questions.
I understand. There were numerous proposals and suggestions all along this process, ranging anywhere from making any period of confinement count to 2 and 2. I mean, this is just what was ultimately agreed on. But like I said, there were multiple discussions and numbers that went back and forth. Like I said, anywhere ranging from what was agreed to now all the way back to at one point the prosecutors had proposed every period of confinement counting. But again, this was what was worked out and agreed to at this point. So there were
Specifically, you have not answered my question, and that was what happened since last week that suddenly you guys are all okay?
Well, we took another vote last night.
So just nothing changed, you just were overnight real happy with it?
No, Senator. We've been working on this for for.
I understand, but what's changed that made you okay with it? Is what I need to know. I'm okay with that, but what changed?
We took it to a final vote last night after these final things were proposed, as well as 2 other additional factors that are in the bill that I didn't mention. Notification to prosecutors, and I think the additional changes, there was a couple of prosecutor members on the actual task force or commission, whatever we're calling it, to review this. So those are 2 additional changes that affected
And
our
Senator
part.
Hutchinson, you might be able to tell us what changed, because we were trying to find the differences.
Well, as